Is this what you call winter? Because I don't. What the heck? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. And yeah, 2 weeks passed by since I uploaded my last video, which was about the application, the website, Shein. And yes, today it's again a totally different topic. Usually I'm not all political, I'm not all about things that like experiencing like different things outside how you see it, how other people see it. But today I thought I might touch on this topic slightly because as of for now, I've been living in Germany for 18 years and I moved here in 2002. For every one of you who doesn't know, I moved from Russia, Siberia in 2002 to Germany. It was a thing my dad actually started because he really liked Germany. By no means, my dad is not German. He was Dagestani, or how we like. I think that I don't know how you exactly translate it into the English language, but I think it's also called Avar, and that's like an. It used to be a nomad, like people society, and now they have their own country. It's called Dagestan. I was born in Azerbaijan, though. It's because my dad's family lived there, and yeah, in 2002, I don't, what was it? 7 years after my dad died, we finally moved here. My dad couldn't make it. My grandma is German, so we had like a good reason to come over. Still, my mom had to make like a pass-through exam, like a language test or something, and she had to travel like extra from Siberia to Kazakhstan, where my grandma was living. To be honest, I have no idea why. That's also not the topic here. But yes, she moved to Germany with me, and that's all. We left my uncle, his two kids and wife, and my aunt, her two kids, and her husband in Russia, which is still the case. My uncle is already dead. He died in 2005. And yes, we moved here, and life has been very hard for me when we started living here, because mainly because I lost all of my friends, I lost my family, and my friend, like my best friend, was my cousin, like the son of my auntie. And yes, when I came here, I couldn't speak the language. I couldn't speak German. Couldn't speak English. I couldn't communicate in any kind of a language that could help me to make friends, which has a result that I have been alone for I think for 3 years. I don't remember exactly. I mean, there were conversation here and there with some people, like in my broken ass German, but most of the time I was alone. And yes, I was sitting at home, and my best friend was my English book. I think that's one of the reasons why I speak English okay, I guess. I always say I speak it fluently, but sometimes I also notice I make like some kind of a mistake that makes me feel very embarrassed, but that's how you learn a language. And yes, I've been studying this book. Like when we had like chapter 2, this lesson, next week we have like according to that, then topic, like the topic number 3, right? So I've been studying like one topic ahead so that I could like always raise my hand in case the teacher asked like for vocabulary or something like that. I was always the first one to raise my hand. And yes, in school, when I started to, I wasn't like, let's say it like up front, I was in different schools until I like stayed in one school for many years, which is still in this town where I am now. Thank you, Corona. And the first thing that was very like, it was a culture shock, is when I moved from Russia, where like the classes are freaking strict, where you have to raise your hand like in a perfect angle, like sitting like that, and you get punishments in case you do something wrong. Not bad punishments, and no one is going to like put you into a dungeon or a basement. No, that's not the case. But here in Germany, when I first entered a German class, I had a freaking culture shock, if I have to say it honestly. People were jumping around the class. I mean, it was a break, yes, but even in a break in Russia, it's much more silent. And we had like, in my time, it was still not a uniform. You were allowed to wear what you want to wear, but it had to be like a darker bottom and like a little bit lighter top, which had the colors like brown, light brown, dark brown, gray, black, and white. Like white and lighter colors up here, and on the bottom it was like always something dark, like black jeans or black skirt. And here everyone wore like everything they wanted to wear, and everyone was jumping like monkeys over the whole tables, and I didn't understand what the frick is going on here. Am I going to stay in this zoo? And yeah, I stayed in this zoo, and to be honest, this zoo was like my best school time memory I have, because it made so much fun. I made like the most friends in this school. I made like most acquaintances in this school, which I have still contact with, except for my used to be best friend. She still doesn't want to talk with me, but that's a totally different story. And I have to say, maybe it was because, I don't know, I was not different looking, because, well, I mean, Russian people don't usually look different from German people. I mean, they are also white. I didn't have like anything on me that stood out, and maybe it made me like, how do you call it? Maybe it like made me assimilate, like being blended into the society and into the class, into the school. And I've never experienced racism in that school. I've never experienced people's behavior against me due to my background. Never in my life. And people usually always say, yeah, you look Russian, you definitely look Russian. And they basically don't know that my father was like Muslim, and that my dad is not Russian, although Dagestan is a part of Russia. And my dad he spoke the language of kind of like a Turkish language. And this language is also spoken in Azerbaijan, where I'm from. I don't speak this language, unfortunately. Oh, you guys like my new cup? Look at this. I mean, it says Merry Christmas. I should stop buying this shit. Okay, back to the topic. And yeah, my dad spoke this language. He never taught me really to speak this language. He just taught me like few sentences. For example, before you start eating, you say Alhamdulillah, Shukrullah, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. Or was it at the end of the meal? I don't remember. I wish my father taught me the language. Then I would be probably able to speak 4 languages fluently now. Unfortunately, my dad died too early as that I could learn this language. And yes, in this school, I've never experienced racism against me. I've experienced a lot of hatred against me because I put on weight very fast in Germany. Like in the first year, I put maybe 10 kilograms. I was a very skinny child. And in Germany, I gained so much weight. And like every single guy, especially guys, made fun of me because I was chubby. I was fat in their eyes. I was chubby actually, but in their eyes, I was already fat. Because I was not like typical top model on a Vogue magazine. And yes, I've never experienced racism, but I experienced hatred against my body type. And when it like continued, girls started to date guys and stuff like that. I was always the outsider, and I was always friends with people who were outsiders. My best friend back then, before I met my best friend, who's now not okay with me talking with her. There was a girl, I think she was Turkish or Kurdish, I don't remember exactly. And we were the outsider, who were always standing like outside. No one is going to talk to us. We were like always somewhere aside from the schoolyard, so that people don't bother us, right? Make fun of us, which was mostly the case. And yes, I got to say that in this school, I've never experienced racism, nothing like that, especially not from German kids. I always thought, like, before I came here, that people are Nazis here. Like, every single person who like talks about Germany doesn't really know how the Germany how German society is. They always assume that the like all Germans are Nazis, and we're still in the Second World War, where like Hitler is still remembered in a lot of minds, which is the case for the neo-Nazis and for Nazis, but they're like a minority. And when I moved on in my let's call it school career, right? People were, because I was constantly put on weight, people always were only making fun of me because I was very, very chubby. And by the end of my school career, I was already very overweight. I can show you a picture here in case you didn't see my weight loss story. And yes, people were always making fun only of my body shape. And when I continued, to be honest, not a single time I've experienced in Germany racism against me. Like I said, maybe it has something to do with the fact that I'm white and I blend into the society pretty well. I've experienced racism against other communities, especially against refugees, people in Germany, and mostly those people are not even German. There are, of course, a lot of German, but mostly those are not Germans. Those are also people who might have been born here, but they have like a totally different background, for example, like me. And I didn't see like racism particularly on streets. I've never seen people making like some kind of a statement against a refugee or a black person. Never saw that. And also, I've like people who come here as a refugee. Those are like particular from Syria and stuff like that, and they are not. You cannot distinguish them immediately from the Turkish people. And the Turkish people have been here for like decades. They came here after World War II to help Germany to curb the economy, to build the whole buildings and stuff like that again. And yeah, so they are not different. And the black people who live here, they usually either were born here or they came like very young. And I don't know, German people, I've never seen people really making fun or being racist against the black people. Usually I see that people are always talking about the refugees, like the Syrian people and people who come here like to search for refuge. It's because they think that those people are taking away their jobs. In case you saw like the South Park episode where they say, yeah, they're going to take our jobs, it's kind of like that. And they always think that they are going to misbehave and take money for free from the government, which is sometimes the case for refugees, but it's not always like that. Like 90% of people really just want to come here to wait like until the war ends and then they can go back. And yes, I've never experienced like real racism on streets. I've never experienced real racism in schools or in some kind of a like institution, like I don't know, let's say when I was working. I've never experienced that. Even people like people who could talk about them, they never talk about them, not even behind their backs, which is actually a great thing, because that shows that German people are over the past. They are not like I said before, there are enough Nazis here, there are enough Nazis who will definitely hit on you if you give them the chance to hit on you. Did I just say hit on you? I mean, if you give them the chance to treat you badly, they will definitely do that. And I've never met a Nazi in my life. Never, ever. Even the people who dress like Nazis, like with those boots and stuff like that, I've never met a real Nazi. Never, never. In my 18 years here. And I hope it will stay like this. I hope it will still be the case. And generally speaking, I think people who come here should be open-minded. especially tourists. I mean, what else are you going to do? You're not going to be hit on if you're a good behaving tourist. I think this is like in every single country out there. If you come here and behave, no one is going to talk bad about you, and they're not going to be racist against you. You might experience, especially if your skin color is different, your facial features, you might experience like stares, but those will be mostly from like older grannies, older grandpas who maybe fought in the Second World War and they still cannot forget about this. And yes, considering the racism, I would definitely say Germany is not a racist country, although in the past few years, the racism started to grow because since 2015, when the whole refugees came, and still are coming, people, especially like the German Nazis, I don't remember what kind of a city that was. I don't remember the name. They were like the most Nazis there, and not a single refugee or like a person who doesn't look like German, they will never go into that town. They will definitely avoid it. And generally speaking, the racism has been growing, but I wouldn't say it's ever. I don't think it ever will be as big as it used to be in the Second World War, especially because the hatred back then always was against mainly Jews. And now the Jews are like blended into the society, and people are still making like those jokes about Jewish people, but they are not racist against them. They mostly are racist against the refugees. And I think that might improve when the whole situation, like when the refugees finally can go back, or if they stay here and blend into the society. Because if you come to a different country, you gotta blend in, this like despite the fact how you look, you gotta blend in, which means if you pay the taxes, if you work, if you blend into society by learning the language, immersing yourself into the German society, there will definitely never be like problems. Especially those people are admired by German people. If you like stay in your small like kabuff, like a very small house and a small room, and you never show yourself, like barely go out and interact, you will be kind of an outlaw, and people, even your neighbors, will definitely talk about it. So no, Germany, I like to conclude the whole video, Germany is not racist. Great country in my opinion. I was also pretty much thinking before I came here, oh my gosh, I'm going to the country of Nazis, which was very frightening. And then I came, I saw how beautiful this country is. Not only the cities, not only the nature, but also like the whole society. Although I have to say, German people don't have a great cuisine. Except the great beer, I think German cuisine is just crap. Especially because I know how the Russian cuisine is. I know how the Japanese, the Chinese, the Greek and stuff like that is. And definitely the German cuisine is garbage. Sorry, Germans, my fellow Germans out there. I think if you have the chance to come to Germany, be open-minded, come here. You will definitely love this country. And in case you have any questions considering Germany, I would love to answer those in the comment section. And I hope you will tune in into the next video, and I hope you have great holidays. Please stay safe and keep a very big distance to your social contacts, please. Cheers.